Visa and passport requirements can be confusing, and every country has different rules. In this lesson, we can't cover all the rules for every country, but we will look at the essential English terminology for visa inquiries, documents, and important questions, so you can call the relevant embassy with confidence. This is especially important if you're planning to work remotely because the rules are changing quickly and they can be really complicated. Let's look at the most common situations where you'll need to contact an embassy or consulate. If your passport is expired or expiring soon, you'll need to file an application for a renewal. Depending on your nationality and destination, you might need to apply for a visa. Living in another country for an extended period of time often requires a temporary residence permit. The requirements and application processes are different for each country. Things like bank statements, proof of employment, travel insurance, and invitation letters are some examples of documentation you may need to present for your applications. And if you're already in a country and need to stay longer, you may be able to request a visa extension. Now, let's go over some of the common words you'll hear when dealing with visas and immigration. Valid or validity means legally acceptable for a specific time period. Processing time is how long it takes for the embassy or consulate to handle and approve your visa application. Visa exempt means you don't need a visa for that country as a citizen of your nation. You'll still go through passport control, and they can still ask you questions and deny entry if something's wrong. It's important to understand what type of visa you need for your purpose. A tourist visa is for vacation or sightseeing. A business visa is for business activities like meetings and conferences. A resident visa is for living in the country long term. And recently, some countries have introduced specific digital nomad visas, specifically for people who want to work remotely while living in a country. Make sure you're applying for the right type of visa. A lot of countries are starting to clamp down on people abusing tourist visas as a means to work remotely, and the days of being able to cross the border and come back the same day or the next day and restarting the tourist visa clock are quickly coming to an end in a lot of places. When you apply for a visa, embassies often require several types of documentation. Sometimes the customs agent will ask for these documents when you enter a country on a visa free status, also. Let's look at what they commonly ask for. Proof of return travel is a really common requirement, which is usually a proof of a return flight ticket or an onward ticket to another destination. Some countries require proof that you have travel insurance. Emergency medical coverage is often part of your travel insurance. It covers medical emergencies while you're traveling. Trip cancellation protection covers the cost of your trip if you need to cancel for certain reasons. It's often bundled with travel insurance, although it's usually not necessary for visa requirements. Some embassies want to see that you have enough money to support yourself during your stay as well, and they call this proof of sufficient funds. It's usually shown through bank statements from the last 3 to 6 months. And proof of accommodation, like hotel reservations, Airbnb bookings, or an invitation letter from someone you're staying with, is a really common requirement of entry to a lot of countries, too, even if you're allowed visa free entry. All right, let's compare some hypothetical visa requirements. Try to think about these two situations in English. Pause the video while you think. There isn't one right answer, it'll be different for everybody. France seems easier, right? No visa application and no processing time. But you aren't supposed to work remotely at all. Vietnam requires advanced planning and documentation, but maybe they do allow remote work. What if you just need to check work emails or work on a presentation while you're on vacation? What if you're a digital nomad? These are the kind of questions you might want to ask embassies before you book your trip. These are a couple of things you might want to consider about visa applications and embassy interactions. Probably the most important is to maintain a professional tone. This isn't like calling a hotel where you can be casual and friendly. Keep your tone respectful, professional, and direct throughout all interactions. And this might be common sense to a lot of people, but dressing nicely can actually make things progress a lot more smoothly. You wouldn't believe how many people I've seen in shorts and a t shirt being severely scrutinized at embassies around the world. These officials have significant power over your application, and being polite and dressing respectfully can make a real difference. Save the t shirt and the flip flops for the beach. It's really important to check visa requirements well ahead of your trip, too. Don't wait until a few weeks before your trip. Visa processing times can take much longer than you might think, especially if there are problems with any of your documentation. Starting late means stress and potentially canceled trips. Another thing to think about is that visa exempt and visa free entry don't necessarily mean you can just walk into a country freely. This confuses a lot of people. Being visa exempt means you don't need to apply for a visa in advance, but you still go through passport control and customs when you arrive. Immigration officers can still ask you questions about your trip, like how long you're staying, where you're staying, and why you're visiting. They can deny you entry and send you back to your destination. I've seen it happen. If they're not satisfied with your answers or if something goes wrong, it might not go so well. And again, wear nice clothes when you go through customs. It really makes a difference. The digital nomad gray area is real and it's complicated. Working remotely on a tourist visa is legally unclear in a lot of countries. Some countries explicitly allow it now with special digital nomad visas. Others say tourist visas don't permit any work at all, even if you're working for a foreign country and not taking a local job. Many countries simply don't have clear policies yet. This is why it's really important to research current information carefully. Don't assume what was okay last year will be okay this year. Things are changing really fast. Okay, time to practice. What questions will you ask the Thai embassy to make sure your trip goes as smoothly as possible? This is the kind of communication work we practice in one on one sessions to make sure the conversation goes smoothly when you're actually at the embassy or making the phone call. We can practice a lot of times, but you only get one chance to make the real call. Coming up next, we'll talk about packing and communicating with customs, how to give clear answers at customs for a stress free entry. If you want to explore the passive voice for phrases like the application will be processed and similar phrases common in official communication, check out grammar lesson number 23. And for pronunciation practice with the v and w sounds, to make sure you say visa, check out pronunciation lesson number 17. See you in the next lesson.